I would say Germany really changed me. I think I grew up a lot. I think that me pushing a lot and still being in the country, even though it's challenging, means a lot. And I grew up way more. I was a bit dreaming of living in Germany. For me, being here, I also feel that a dream came true as well. Everything I wished for actually happened.
Perin, so happy that we get to do part two. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Thank you again. It's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed the recording of the last episode. So excited for this
The
next
same for
one.
me. The same for me. Welcome back. I was just telling you before we started is that I was editing the first episode and I have to say I enjoyed it even if when I watch it the second time. So I think that's gonna be a cool result.
Absolutely.
Perin, going back through Canada. We stopped at Canada.
Yes.
What was your first impression? So first of all, did you have to do the apartment hunting stuff or you just moved and everything was prepared for you?
So neither nor actually. So I moved. Yeah, it was quite adventurous. I don't know if I will do that again, but basically I moved with only 3 days book in an hostel. And I was really confident, yeah, all good. I'm gonna find an apartment in 3 days. And I had no clue. I think I didn't even check fully the cities and so on. And it was also, I mean, Instagram was already installed, but it was also few people really documenting their life in Canada. So
Mm-hmm.
I was following some of them, but yeah, I mean, I didn't have a big hint. But when I arrived, so first, of course, I landed and I couldn't have any network on my phone. So
Yeah,
I
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but we have to tell the young kids watching this. So back then, it was not easy to get an eSIM, to get an, I don't know what, the bloody hell you can get today so easy. So it was not even rooming was something which was not natural available everywhere. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just had to explain this.
absolutely, yeah, it's true. I forget that I am now in the older part.
Don't say that out loud. I just had my birthday 5 days ago. We don't have to talk about this, okay?
No, no problem. But yeah, so I remember that I had like kind of a map or a screenshot on my phone, just like, okay, I have to go right and left and so on. And then I arrived in my hostel, and the first impression was actually really good. I remember that when I landed and I was by myself, I was in North America, and in Canada, I was going there for my dream job and so on. I really loved the feeling. I felt really accomplished and really excited. And I was really confident actually about my adventure. And that was really a nice first start. And the hostel I booked was so good. That was really central in the city. And I don't know, I just found this one randomly. And that was the perfect one actually for my start in Canada.
But how did you book it? Did you just internet random search and find? Okay, that was pure luck then. That
Yeah.
was really pure luck.
Yeah. I mean, usually I'm also like looking at the reviews and those kind
Yeah.
of things, obviously. But yeah, that was quite random. It was not recommended by anyone I know or anything like that.
And was it a temporary the hostel? And then you start searching for something?
Yeah, I remember that I arrived the first day, and on Monday I was starting my new job. So I only booked for 3 days the hostel, and I was like, worst case scenario would just like stay longer and so on. Super
Find a place to
confident.
sleep in the office.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, but let's see. And I directly found actually an apartment. So the day after already. I mean, everything was also simple back then. So, for example, I didn't have to provide so many informations to rent an apartment. I also didn't have to pay a big deposit or those kind of things. It's not like in Germany. So yeah, everything was
We'll come
really
to that
simple.
later.
Yeah, we know. So yeah, and I directly found something. So it was small, and I didn't stay long in this apartment neither afterwards, but still, like to start my adventure, that was really perfect. So that was like a one-room apartment, super central and especially close to my job. So yeah, and I remember that directly the first day I also met some people that were just passing by Montreal, and we went for drinks. And the day after, one of the girl actually from the hostel, she helped me move my luggages in the new apartment. So that was really a positive start, I have to say.
So I don't know if you're lucky or you're just searching your luck. I'm trying to understand now. It's the second episode. Sometimes you don't know if it's made up luck or it's actually luck. You know, that's
Absolutely. Yeah. So something to mention, I'm very lucky with apartments. Everywhere I went, I don't know. I think I have a star somewhere that is just like pushing me, having like the really good, beautiful, and cheap apartments in town. So nothing I can complain about.
What was the first impression about Montreal? You went from Singapore back to France. You stayed in France for a while, then you moved to Canada. What was the first impression about Montreal?
Really good. I really liked all the big buildings because, of course, as I was super central, I was in their business neighborhood first. And I was like, okay, this is North America and the landscape we have in mind. So I really liked that because this was also what I was looking for. So this was a really good first impression. And then like few days after when I started to install myself as well in my new neighborhood and so on, I found as well some more quiet neighborhood, but still with like this little glimpse of North America. As well, they were speaking French. Even though that's not exactly the same French.
You know, I wanted to ask you exactly the same. So I'm an English speaker. Um, I realize the difference between Australian English, English, American English. I'm a French understander. But tell me how big of a difference you have. You have different words, you have different accents, you have what's the difference between the Frenches?
Both, I have to say.
Oh, okay.
They have a really strong Quebecois accent that is really known and you cannot miss it. And as well, the words are slightly different. So, yeah, for example, in French from France, we are also having a lot of English words that are just staying. For example, weekend. We're just like
Hmm.
saying, yeah, this is the weekend in French as well. And in Quebec, they have this law to protect French language. So
Oh,
basically,
interesting.
they're translating everything. So yeah, so and I remember like my first task when I arrived at work was to write a newsletter. And newsletter is an English word. In French, from France, we are saying newsletters, and in Quebec, they translated newsletter to infolettre. And that was my first task. Yeah, Perrine, write an infolettre. I was like, what? So yeah, and for plenty of words, that's the case. So it took a little bit of time to really understand and to really get used to those new words, even though they are French, but we are not using them. So
It's so interesting that they are protecting French, and in France, you English shit. Let me say it like this: you make it more English. But I had in the one of the previous episodes Adrienne, who moved from US to France, and she said that the biggest cultural shock was that in France you always start whenever you get to speak to someone, you never do the English like excuse me first. You always start with bonjour, and after bonjour you say what you want to say. And she said that that was the biggest social or the cultural shock that she had when she moved to France, because she was always starting with excuse me, and that was never working. Like everyone was extremely pissed on with her.
True.
Tell me your cultural shock. Besides the words, was it something that you would say it was so big of a difference that you say, okay, this is France, but it's not France?
I felt quite quickly actually that it wasn't France at all. It was really North America. And as well to get used to the two languages and so on. That was the first time I was living in a bilingual country. So everything is always translated and so on. So this was cool, but also a bit like, okay, you don't know if the person will speak to you in French or in English and those kind
Mm-hmm.
of things. Um, and I think the biggest shock was the weather. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so cliche, but you can imagine that when I was moving, I was saying, like, there is absolutely no way I am going out when it's minus 30 degrees. Yeah, I was so naive. Yeah, that was really a culture shock.
But okay, that's a different level of cold. Like we talk about cold, we talk about, especially if we talk about Germany last years. I mean, if we have -10, it's an event.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can imagine before that, just a reminder, I'm born in Marseille, but I moved to Singapore. So I wasn't really used to cold.
But then, okay, now we have to dig deep into this. Do guess you went unprepared clothes from the clothes perspective, right? You had no really warm clothes.
No, so when I moved, of course, I wasn't equipped at all, let's say. I had nothing. At work, I met a lot of people, a lot of French people as well, because I was working for a French company. So they were also employing a lot of French people, and directly they gave me their best tips as well, where to buy the Canadian winter jacket you need, the Canadian boots you need, and so on. So when I bought everything, I was like, anyway, minus 30. I'm not leaving the apartment. Come on. Well, first time it happened, I did like a really beginner mistake because I had all the clothes, but I didn't have the insider tips. So I was like with makeups and especially with mascara. And I went out and my entire face froze. Yeah. And when
No.
I arrived in the building where I was working, yes. And I was looking like a panda. And the receptionist, so yeah, she said like, "Hi, Corinne, I think you should go to the bathroom just for a second." And then I realized that my mascara wasn't Canadian approved.
I put in you're new in Canada, right?
Definitely. You know, like the beginners, like the face of the beginners, literally.
Okay, so basically you had to buy everything from there, but were you using the public transport or were you using the car?
I was using public transport.
And how is to get in a tram or in a bus with -30s outside? What's the temperature inside the bus?
Yeah, so the temperature inside the bus is quite okay. And basically, everything is a bit made for you to not wait too much outside. So even like the bus stops, they are all covered and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I mean, you get used to it quite quickly that you know that this is the time for your bus, so you don't arrive 30 minutes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before, all those kind of things. And as well, so I was going to work by bus, but as well in the world city centers, you have some tunnels from metro stations to another to a lot of buildings and so on, especially for winter, so you don't need to go outside.
So basically they help you somehow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're super organized about it. And I mean, it's snowing from October till May sometimes. So come on.
Okay, okay, that's a different level of winter for sure. When I miss winter, I have to keep in mind I have to go to Canada then.
Yeah, you should.
Perin, how was the working experience in Canada?
That was really amazing. So basically, I was working for Bioderma. That's a French skincare company.
Mm-hmm.
and I was in charge of US and Canada market for social media influencer and overall digital marketing. I arrived in company. It was only one person, and then it was my manager and I. So I'm still in contact with her. She's called Leticia, and she taught me so much. I learned so much. We got along really, really well from the very beginning, and she trusted me. So I was lucky enough to travel a lot during my work because we were also managing some agencies in the US and Canada
Mm-hmm.
to help us. Bioderma wanted as well to positionate themselves into makeup, so with their makeup removers. So I was going a lot into makeup shows in the US. So after, I think 3 weeks after my arrival, they said, "Okay, Perrine, time to go to our makeup fair in Dallas." Yeah, really cool. But the English wasn't the one from Singapore, neither from Montreal.
And not from the English classes.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh,
Yeah.
and how was the experience?
Couldn't understand so much. Yeah, that was really funny because I arrived, I was like, I wasn't so confident with my English. Was like, okay, I'm fine, but I'm moving to Montreal. So, yeah, somehow I have one out of the two languages of the country at least, and so on. And then I ended up in Dallas, and I was just looking at the people. I was like, I have no clue. But even at the restaurants, like super easy question. For example, are you ready to order or those kind of things, you know? It's I had no
The
clue.
the problem is that because it happened to me as well, not in the US, but it happened to me in Ireland. So also hard accent, or in Scotland also hard accent. But I have to say that the brain is entering some kind of a freeze area where you have the feeling that you will not understand, and then you are not able to react. Right? Is that the feeling?
Absolutely. Was like, I am supposed to know this language, but somehow I don't get any keywords. So yeah. But that was like already, first work trip, like already level 10. So nothing
Mm-hmm.
could get worse than this one, I have to say. But that was still like really, really nice. And I also felt really integrated in the team, in the company, and trusted enough actually to send me in the US. And for me, that was crazy as a first job to travel in the US. That was really, yeah, my dream basically.
So you never really felt like an expat.
I felt like an expat, and especially
Really?
because I had all those visas involved. And this is
Okay.
already like the barrier, that you have to do the extra work. Um, But I was also staying with a lot of Frenchies
Mm-hmm.
in Canada. I also met a Canadian boyfriend. So I could also integrate myself a bit more, let's say, in the local culture and so on. But mainly all my friends were French. So I also felt that I was an expat for this reason because I wasn't really staying with a lot of locals.
Mm-hmm. So okay, yeah, it's usually the yeah the issue that you always have, like when you're an expat. What we have talked in one of the previous episodes, the problem of the locals is that when they are getting closer to you, they know that you will leave at one moment.
Yeah.
So, and that's why nobody has really the interest to. Yeah, it's like a friendly chat we can do, of course, but not like some deep friendship because it's always that feeling that I don't know how long you're gonna be here. So how was the culture of working, Perin? Was that American grinding in Canada, or you had the feeling that it was more Europe style?
I would say a bit of in between. As I was working for a French company, I could definitely see all the European and especially French influence. It was managed by a French person and so on. So definitely, but all the Canadian colleagues, I could really see the difference in the pace as well. So in France, your work is kind of at the center of your life, or at least like it's taking a really a big place
Hmm.
into it. In Canada, it's a bit shifted. So first, it's like more family, friends, and everything that is outside the working time, and work is just here like to earn money. And even though they really like, the time is the time we're living and so on. As well, the time, like their starting time was way earlier than what I expected. So all the French people, we were starting at like 9 a.m. and all the Canadian at like 7 a.m. as well. So
Oh.
yeah, all of this was really slightly different. Yeah,
But that's extremely interesting. So I want to go first to the first point because I think that's a major difference. Because usually the Americans, especially the North American ones, they have this grinding culture where they are working, 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 working like really hard. But you are telling now that in fact they were a bit more into the other side, like more family oriented.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, free time had like a bigger place than work.
But on the other side, they were really early there. Was it so that they could leave in time?
Yeah,
Was that the reason?
yeah. Leave early. Basically, it's just like the schedule was shifted, and especially because you don't have a lot of daylight during winter.
Okay, makes
So
sense.
yeah, but this was so really different. I wasn't really ready to start working at 7 a.m. But for them, like culturally, like the city was already awake way earlier.
Okay, now there is a different question. What was the what was the daylight? The daylight. How long was the daylight there? So of course you had limited in the evening, but therefore you had earlier in the morning.
Not really. It was a bit more like shifted to end of the afternoon, and that's why they were starting earlier so they
Ah,
could
okay,
quit and it was still daylight out.
makes sense. Like it's
Absolutely.
a quality of life, but it's so interesting that there are you have basically two big countries on the North American continent, and they are so different from each other, like
Yeah.
from the working culture.
Yeah, but I can also say that this is true for Montreal and Quebec, but I don't
Hmm.
know if it's true for the rest of the Canada. Because I know that, for example, Vancouver and Toronto, they are way more US influenced, let's say.
Hmm.
So it's probably different there.
I had someone from Canada actually in a previous episode, and they said, that, for example, Ottawa is also kind of also only focus, not only work focus, no real community. Everyone is from their own. They are only working, and that's basically it. Um, but that's of course, you have big countries, so it's hard to compare them with Europe. And I think, Perin, what it's worth mentioning is that I think you don't grasp the size of Canada or of US only if you are there. Like, and maybe you can tell us something about. I had the same issue in what being in the US, and I realized that when you look on the map and you see it's about 8 hours of driving.
Absolutely.
Did you get to travel inside Canada to visit something?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm quite on point with whole Quebec province, yeah, and especially because then it's there that I met my best friend, and the deal that we had from the beginning is I am working a lot, so I have absolutely zero time to plan anything,
Hmm.
but I am up for everything. And she was a travel agent, so she was like, I have the time to do it, and I am looking for someone that can just like adjust and come with
Oh,
me.
nice, nice.
So yeah, with her, I definitely visited the whole Quebec. So we did all experiences: summer, winter, autumn, spring. But we don't have a lot of spring actually in Quebec. So yeah, but we did really a lot. I also went several times to Toronto and Ottawa because that was quite close, and I fell in love with Ottawa actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really loved the city, so I know that it's way more all the politics power and so on is based there. But I really love yeah, the city itself, the architecture, and all the different activities. I really enjoyed all my times there. So yeah.
What Kiana said in the previous episode, she said that it's a green city.
Yeah.
Was that also your feeling? That's a green city?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have like as well a big river that is crossing the city. And during winter, this is so frozen that you can ice skate
Oh,
on
nice,
yeah on it on the canal.
nice.
So yeah, this I really loved it.
What's one place from Canada that you can recommend that is not so known?
This is a hard one.
I mean, most of the places are known, which are populated, but maybe you have a hidden gem that not so many people know.
I think I think I will say Quebec City. This is a bit. Yeah, a lot of people are visiting the city, but Quebec City, and I will just recommend one place that I am missing a lot when I'm speaking about Canada, but that's Mary's Popcorn. Um, yeah, I know. This is like really one place that you need to visit if you're going to Quebec and
Harry's popcorn.
yeah, they are selling popcorns with a lot of different flavors. And yeah, this one is
This North American culture is amazing.
yeah.
I have there are the is there's the only culture in the world that can have a shop where they can only sell popcorn, or there's an only shop one shop where they can only sell donuts. Like for example, Dunkin' Donuts. Come on, they made a chain only with donuts. How insane is that?
This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Perin, one last question maybe about Canada, about the social experience, the cultural experience. What's one thing about Canada or Canadians that people don't know and you think they should know?
Ah, this is hard as well. I would say this is really visible that they are super welcoming people. And I felt really, really welcome. But I think we have to push a bit more to become friends. And yeah, I would recommend to push for it because they are really genuine and nice people to be friend with.
That's a really nice one. So they are welcoming, but you need to get a bit closer to them to. Okay, makes sense. Nice. I like it. I really like it. How long were you in Canada, Perin?
I was in Canada for 2 years and a half. So yeah, when I started my adventure in Canada, I was like, I will never leave. This is like, this is my dream country. I'm having my dream job. I love snow, so I started to enjoy the cold as well. So all good.
I don't believe that, but okay.
No, but actually, I really like snow itself. That's so beautiful. Yeah, I cannot say that I enjoyed so much the 2 hours of daylight during winter, but yeah, this is true story. Yeah,
Vitamin D at its best. You need to take all the vitamin D on this world.
absolutely. I was, yeah, that was really tricky. Yeah, luckily I was traveling a lot to the south and especially, yeah, South US or Central America. So
And what made you come back?
it was really a tough decision. So I changed manager at work and I wasn't really aligned with the new manager. So my job excitement decreased definitely. As well, we talked about expats that are also living, and it was also the case. A lot of my friends left the country, so it wasn't also the same vibe, and I had the feeling that it was time to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was sad leaving though, and I had a open visa. So I still have it actually. It's still valid for 1 year and a half now. So I left with the option to come back in case. So I guess it also made the decision a bit easier for
Hmm.
me. But that was really a tough decision. And I remember that it was the opposite from my departure from Singapore, for example, where I was like quite okay with that. When I left Canada, I was really crying. I remember the flight from Montreal to Marseille. That's always a night flight. I was crying for 8 hours. So yeah,
That's
that was really hard, but not with regrets of the decision, but more with I know what I leave behind, and
uh-huh.
that's really really cool. What was behind?
Did you apply for a job before that,
Yeah.
or and you only left when you had the job in back home already? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just looking for jobs, and I was looking in Canada, in Montreal, or in France. So I was leaving the two options open. And the funny thing is, in Canada, most of the time I was rejected because of my level of in English, because I was directly in competition with native.
Native
Yeah,
speakers, yeah, makes
which
sense.
I completely get, and most of the Canadian from Quebec, they are perfectly bilingual. So and it's fine, but this is also like, okay, I need to improve to get there. And finally, I got the job next to Marseille for one of my dream fashion brand when I was a little girl, American Vintage.
I the envy that I keep having for you. It's make I'm I I congrats. That's the only thing I can say. Um, so back home, having a job for a dream company. Um, why moving to Germany then?
Okay, so
I want to
first,
be fast, I know, but
yeah, I love France. It's my country, but I think
but
I love France even bigger and better when I live abroad. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I think I am one of the best ambassador of my country, but when I live abroad, I'm also French, so I'm also complaining a lot. Uh,
that's really German.
and French as well. Come on.
Really?
Yeah, we're not for it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I love France, and I think the life quality is amazing and so on. But I love being an expat, and this is why I only stayed 1 year actually in France.
Makes sense. You called Germany the best decision ever. First of all, how was the decision process? Why Germany? Because you had Singapore, which was not necessarily choose, but you had it as an option, so you said yes. Then you had Canada, which was an option, so you applied for it, but was not. You didn't want to go there. Was Germany an exception? Like you really chose Germany and you wanted to come here?
No. um, so after my year in France, so it was during COVID, I decided to move abroad. And I was looking for a job. So I didn't decided actually to move abroad. That's not entirely true. I was just looking for a new job. And I applied in Paris, in Germany, only one actually in Munich, and then in Amsterdam. And I got three offers: one in Paris, one in Amsterdam, one in Munich. And again, it's all about feelings, but I got along really well, and I really had this feeling with the manager in Munich. So that was the reason why I decided to move there. Could have been a completely different story for me, but it was this one. And again, I think I'm lucky enough to say, okay, and if for any reason it doesn't work, I can still come back or change, and because it's not a big deal. So
we have to say that for whomever is thinking about this parent, because I think it's important to say it out loud, even though it's something that we talk about. There is nothing bad that can happen. The worst thing that you can do is going home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And independent, if you are a flight away, if you are a drive away, if you are a train away, you can always go home, go back. If something bad is happening, and I feel you somehow, because I have to tell you, everybody's asking me quite often if I ever think about going back to Romania. And I always say, if I have to, most probably I will. Don't want to, if it makes sense what I'm saying. And I think it's
Yeah.
the same for you, right?
Yeah.
We kind of realize that the world is so big and there are so many cultures that we have the options to get to know, and only to know the one that you grow up in, it would be a pity. It would be I don't want to say it a waste of time, but it's kind of, there's a lot to explore in this world,
Yeah.
to stay only in your home.
And that's also super exciting to arrive in a new country, in a new culture, and to experience it. This is also really challenging. Don't mistake me, but this is also so nice. And I have the feeling that, and I cross a lot of people like me that is really open minded and ready to share as well their experiences, their culture. That I love it. I love like meeting new people.
Exactly.
So either like here in Germany, Germans, but as well expats from other countries, because yeah, we can also connect a bit easily, I have to say.
Mhm.
Then if now I will be in Marseille, I will probably just be with my friends, even though I'm open minded. I will connect with other people, but maybe less. But now that I am an expat.
And now to come to the fun part. Tell me how hard was to find an apartment in Munich.
Uh,
Please,
this,
please.
this is my favorite story.
I know. I know
So
it.
I also booked a 1 month Airbnb. So yeah, but I learned,
Mhm.
moving to Canada, 3 days of hostels. Now I grew up a bit. I'm like, it's during
1 month.
COVID. Yeah, 1 month.
Should do it. Come on.
Yeah, and imagine COVID, lockdown, me not speaking German, didn't have a German bank account, and so on. So basically, I had nothing on my side, and
I
I was
already love the story. I already love it.
probation period, like really only red flags on my files. Okay, so and I did, I think, 20 or 30 visits. So that was a lot, and lucky me, but at one of the visits, the real estate agent was French. And so
I don't. I
voila, that's it. And yeah, and he didn't know, but he will become my best friend actually, just for my apartment research. But this apartment wasn't for me. But then I starting to, I think, text him every day. Like, I am still looking. Those are my criteria. Here are my documents and so on. And I think at some point he was also just done with me. And he called me a morning at like 7 a.m. and said, "Okay, Perrine, I have something for you, but you have to come and visit it now. It's not on the market yet." No problem. I am already in the U-Bahn. No worries. And I arrived, and that was like an amazing apartment. So, matching all my criteria. So, in terms of budget, really central in Munich. So, it was really 10 minutes by foot from Marienplatz, which is the
Okay.
main
Nice.
place. And yeah, like last floor, a lot of windows. So, really matching perfectly. And I got the apartments like that.
Um, because you are not speaking the language, I'm curious about your Anmeldung process.
Well, this was really an adventure. So I think I've learned really fast some keywords. And I really I remember that I was in my apartment. I was like, okay, Perrine, you have to train how to present yourself, like the potential questions and so on. So I trained a lot, and I arrived at the kind of town hall for that, and they started with questions, and they don't know that, but actually somehow they did a mistake in my birth date during the Ameldung. So for I think 1 year, I had this wrong birth date on my paper. Yeah, and I was a bit like, okay, this is a lot of effort to come back to explain my situation. So I just lived with that. And when I moved actually to another apartment, I arrived at the town hall and they said, yeah, it's not matching. I say, I didn't know that. And it worked. So now
You
I
know
have everything okay, but that was funny.
the thing that which I'm shocked every day in Germany is about the confidence that these people have in you. So I I have two experiences. I'm sorry, I have to share this because it just happened. So my the car of my wife was in service because it needed something to be done and they didn't figure it out for a long time. Then I went to get the car. It was fixed. He said, you know what? I'm so tired today. Come tomorrow for the invoice and to pay. Don't come today. I went tomorrow. He said, no, no, no. Yeah, no, not today. Please just leave it for next week. I, I live in a village, of course, and his service is 1 kilometer away from my house, but still. And it took me 6 weeks to get an invoice for the
No.
car and to pay it. And he constantly keeps saying, "Well, you know what? I not today. No, I have so much to do. No, no, because it's a small service. They don't have like an invoices and invoicing team and on. It's a one man show,
Yeah.
and that's why he said, you know what? Just go. Just leave me alone. Let me. I will. Whenever, not now. Just." And I said, the confidence that you have to have that I'm coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is just insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. We have to say on the other side, Perin, that Munich is not your typical German city. Munich is one of the international hubs. So it's not Berlin for sure, because Berlin is on a different level of internationality, but Munich is still an international hub. Did you manage to have a community there, like an expat community or a local community?
Expat community, 100%. So mainly, so I arrived in September, and for 3 months, it was complete lockdown. So yeah, really easy to make friends. Huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I was lucky enough because in the company it was mainly expats.
Mhm.
And my age range, same situations, and so on. So we're able to connect quite quickly. So all nationalities basically, and we are still friends now. But yeah, it was mainly expats. I didn't have any German friends.
How was the have you started learning the language?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely took the opportunity of the lockdown to
Uh-huh.
have intensive German courses. That was a bit ambitious, I have to say, but I was working 40 hours a week. And on top, 4 times a week, I had ninth class. So yeah, from 6 to 9. So I was speaking English the entire day, then German, and then I was just going to bed.
So for people who don't know what this means, I did the same. So I've done the same, but that's why I'm laughing so hard, because my boss told me, because I didn't manage to learn everything, and my boss told me that then Pop, no, 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 don't do that, because he had the same experience in a different country. No, 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 you put your English classes, your German classes, whatever language you want to learn, 8 a.m. in the morning. Then you plan them 8 a.m. in the morning, 2 hours, and then you can go to work. But if you put them in the evening, you can forget about it. You are not able to learn anything. And after 2 weeks of doing that, I just stopped. I said, okay, I have to change the plan, because I was not able to understand anything in the evening. And you are so tired. You hate everyone. Like, you hate everyone.
Definitely. Yeah, I was dreaming in German because it was after the class. So I was like completely confused. If my mom was calling after the class, I didn't know which language we were speaking. So
But what was your so of course it was lockdown, so cannot really ask you what was your first impression about Munich, but when the lockdown was done, what was your impression about Munich?
I liked it. I felt that it was a really beautiful city, and also I met a lot of friends that were really into nature. And I have to say that one of the big assets of Munich that is really close to the mountains. So I could explore the city, and then just like with the train being the mountain, so winter to ski or summer for hikes and so on. So I really enjoyed the city itself and even the people, and I really like the vibe. And especially after COVID, after lockdown, everyone wanted to be out, so it was really animated, and all the terraces were full and so on. So I think it was also a good time when everything reopened.
Um, have you felt a big difference between Munich and Marseille?
Definitely, I think Germany is the toughest expatriation for me, and language plays a big role here. Definitely, it's close. I mean, our countries are sharing a border, so it cannot be closer than that. And especially comparing to Singapore or Canada, but in terms of culture, it's really really different. The way of living is different. Again, working wise, it's also different. I mean, this sounds super cliche, but they are really organized in the society and at the work and so on. I mean, yeah, this is true, right?
Don't tell me, don't tell me.
I had some challenges as well. For example, yeah, this is maybe bad to say that, but in Marseille, when the red light for pedestrian, yeah, is yeah, you know what I'm gonna say, right? Is red. We are still crossing. In Germany, you cannot do that. So first, yeah, you have a law actually that you cannot do that. But you don't
In
even need a police officer. Just like a German is enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was with. Oh, I have so many stories. You started me. So, first of all, did you pay any fines?
No.
Okay, lucky you. I was driving and I came from Romania where speed limits are just optional, like in France, the red light. So, and I paid 300 euros in the first 2 months because they came with a delay, and until I realized, oh, I cannot do the same. I have to stop.
No way.
I was with my wife. My wife was, our son was a few months old, and we were coming somewhere from the city, and we stopped in front of a restaurant to pick up some food for home. And I went in the restaurant to pick up the food, and I left the engine on because my wife was breastfeeding in the car, our son. Yeah? Like, breastfeeding is not something that it's something you can plan. Like, he's hungry, you have to give him food. Yeah? And I left the car open. In front of the restaurant, there was a terrace, and someone was on the terrace. And he came to me and said, "Yeah, you can stop the car." I said, "No, I can't." "Yes, you can. It's not needed." I said, "My wife is breastfeeding." He said, "Ooh, okay, then you don't have to stop it." Then he calmed down, but it's yeah, I
You know.
I know what you mean. Yeah. What about recycling?
I mean, I am I am bad at it, I have to say. Uh, I hope nobody from the government is watching or listening to podcast. Well, I can tell you, but I'm yeah, I'm not the best at it. But I think what is really amazing me still is like you cannot throw your glass bottles on Sunday. This is really really crazy. I understand the reasoning, but it's like Okay, yes, Sunday, and especially in South Germany. But Sunday is like the day. The day you have to be quiet, everything's closed, and so on. So imagine for me arriving from North America, where everything is open 24/7. You arrive here Sunday, you cannot even go and buy milk. It's like, okay, I am still okay. In September, it will be 5 years till I move to Germany. I am still complaining about the Sunday closing. I can tell you.
So, oh my god, I have so many, so much. I had such a good time. I have such a good time because I realize I'm not the only one. So I don't know if you know, because I'm passionate about. I'm always curious why things are happening. And one of the things that I was curious, why was Sunday this day in Germany? And apparently, somewhere in the 60s, there are some street protests made by kids, my family with kids, and they started a move which is called "The Sunday Belongs to My Father." So Sonntag gehört Papi oder sowas, or something like this. So I cannot really tell you the name. And that's how they started to close the store on Sunday,
Huh?
which I find it really interesting. I didn't know that. I'm passionate about this interesting shit. Sorry, but
But that's really interesting. I really like it.
yeah, yeah. Now that I know, I'm also okay. It's not that
Yeah.
bad.
True, true.
um, but coming to we still talk about Munich, but I have to come to Baden-Württemberg because recycling here is something which is, I must say, it's a challenge. You are living in the city. I have to tell you something. You are living in a city, which gives you a huge advantage. You don't have to separate the plastic.
Yeah, true. You're right.
You have the yellow bag and you put everything inside. So I don't have the yellow bag. That means I have to separate the plastic in five types of plastic.
Okay. Oh wow. This is crazy. This is like a level up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's level up. Um, what do you? What? What was so? Besides, you say about the store being closed on Sunday, but I have the feeling that's happening in France at the moment as well, right?
A bit, but y- yeah, like in a way, yes. Before, so like couple of years before, it was open fully on Sundays, but now they came back a bit
Hmm.
on the other side, and they just like decided to close at least the afternoon. But still, the morning you can always find something open, and still you can find not maybe the closest, but you can always find something that is open the entire day as well on Sunday.
Okay.
So this is still different, and especially like in big cities and so on, you always have something that is open on Sunday.
I'm quite. The reason why I'm asking you is because I'm quite often in Strasbourg. I like the city. I really like it, and we are there quite often to buy cheese and wine.
The best of the country.
I mean, it is how it is, and you always have to take one baguette, no two, because one you eat on the way. Um, and it was the same on Sunday. It was closed.
Yeah.
The only thing that I remember, and I have to really, I'm not sure if you know the story, but usually there are some holidays which are holidays in Germany, but non-holidays in France. And the best example that I have now is 3rd of October. I want to say is the National Day of Germany. 3rd of October, so November, October, yes. And I went to Strasbourg because I said, okay, makes sense. There's no national holiday there, but I didn't realize that the complete Germany was in Strasbourg for the day because everyone was shopping in Ocean.
Yes. So funny.
Um, yeah, an interesting experience. What was the biggest shock, Perin? Was it the stores? Was it the language? What was the biggest culture shock that you say you had in Germany?
I think it was the rules and the way they respect the rules, actually, because I have the feeling that we have the same rules in France, but we are always crossing the line, and here they are not crossing the line, and they are also telling you.
Mhm.
So this was, I think, the biggest shock during COVID as well. I had a couple of time the police, for example, coming in the building because someone called for a little party, all those kind of things. And this was also like, okay, this is really extreme. Or crossing in the streets, and always you have someone that's telling you, and really all those kind of things. Yeah, that was a bit shocking, but not necessarily in the bad way, because I think that's why the society is still running pretty
I,
well.
I just want to ask you this. How do you see that? Because I have the same problem with Romania. We have the rules, but they are just there, like nobody cares and there is no social responsibility. And I have the feeling that this social responsibility is really high. Do you see the need for it in France as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as much as I love my country, I also have the feeling that now it's not safe enough, and especially because of all this, it escalated so much. So, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm not living in France, because I feel
Mhm.
way safer in the society in Germany than in France. So all of those little annoying rules and
Mhm.
people commenting are actually definitely a big asset to keep running in the good direction.
Correct. What was something that came naturally to you from the German culture, Perin?
I think the food. This is weird to say that, especially because I'm vegetarian. So you can already push on the side all the sausages and so on. But I have a big love for pretzels. Yeah.
But I have a question here because I see pretzels, so this Laugen, the bread, I see them in Strasbourg as well. Are they from Alsace or are they from Germany?
I think they're from Germany. I mean, we have those two regions. Yeah, I'm sorry to say. But we have those two regions in France, so Alsace and Lorraine, and
Hmm.
they were German, French, German, French. So it's just that at some point they also kept some of the cultures and the histories of both countries. And that's why, as well, in this region, they are speaking way more German than in other regions. And as well, the name of all the cities, they are closer to the German names than
Oh.
French names, you know, all those kind of things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I also learned that depending on the regions, they are not baking the pretzel exactly the same way.
Hmm.
And sometimes as well the shape is slightly different, and like sometimes it's this way and sometimes that's on the other side as well, like the way they represent pretzel. So I think that's something German, but each region they still
For
have
sure, for sure.
their way.
I need to ask you this first. Butter pretzel, yes or no?
Yes. Definitely.
Absolutely. I don't know what makes that food so special. I have to say, I don't know. Butter simple, pretzel simple, but together, magic.
Love it. And when it's cut like really like this with the butter, you just need to, oh, this is the best. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Um, you stayed in Munich for how long, Penny?
For 3 years and a half.
Um, decided to leave the city or decided to search for a different job?
So I met a German from Stuttgart.
Love is all around.
Yes, voila. So I decided to follow him, basically. I could negotiate a remote contract with the company in Munich. So this definitely facilitated my moving in Stuttgart. We found an apartment really quickly, not a surprise. City
If you are
center.
if you met the German, problem solved.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's the thing. So now I had a German with me, German speaking. So the visits were also quite different. So I have a super German family name. I am looking a bit German. So yeah, basically, I was just not speaking. So I was smiling and I was just like, "Mhm, yeah, sehr schön." And that's it. and it was perfectly fine.
So let's say it like this: Germany, even though it was a not necessarily long-term plan, it ended up being a long-term plan.
Yeah, completely. Um, I never really asked myself how long I'm gonna stay in Germany. When I moved there, it was not love at the first sight, but I was also still positive about it. Of course, it was COVID, so I was always saying like, okay, let's see how is really the city after the lockdown, and then it was really amazing, and then just life is passing. So I met a lot of people, and it was really well at my job. I got promoted, and I was also a bit traveling and so on. So yeah, I was okay with my life in Germany. And then I met a German, so of course I yeah, now
Level up
I'm staying for love to be.
for a while. You came for work, you stay for love.
Yeah,
It's something which is there are two things which are bringing people as expats: job and love. That's it.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Everything else, it's not important. How do you see Stuttgart when you compare it to Munich, Perrine?
The city is more beautiful in Munich, but the people are more welcoming in Stuttgart. And this, yeah, I know a lot of people are really surprised when I say that. But for me, this is really like the biggest difference and my biggest experience as well. Um, in Munich, a lot of people were complaining that you are not speaking perfectly German or those kind of things. And I felt somehow that I was always the outsider. And here, even like in my neighborhood and so on, everyone is so welcoming. And when I just speak German with my super strong French accents, everyone is so happy actually. And I feel really integrated, and they're always asking a lot of questions. So I find a bit more this little chit chat as well in the stores that I was missing from France, for example, but I didn't have in Munich.
Interesting, because I mostly know the, let's say, the world from here, because I'm also living close to Stuttgart. But I have to say there is one thing which I have 10 years in 1st of August since I'm here, and I have to say one thing which is still confusing me, and I don't know if we share this opinion, is that the fact that you stay on this chit chat level even with my neighbors. I live in the same village since 2017 now. We are still on this chit chat level.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is a bit the same as what I was saying for Canadians. I think like having this chit chat is easier, but really going on a deeper level of the relationship, really you have to push for it. So I have an asset with me now, the German boyfriend, which definitely opens a lot of doors with locals because of his friends and so on. So I see it a bit differently, but by myself, I don't have a lot of German friends. And this is also like the reality more and more, because I feel more and more integrated. I am also speaking more and more the language, so it also opens more doors to me. But it's not the same connections as with an expat, definitely.
That's exactly somehow my feeling as well. We are on the same page, I would say. So I think it's not me,
No.
but for sure, having a German boyfriend, I think the community feeling is way different than it was in Munich, right?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you see the thing differently, and everything is also easier. I didn't need to do my Ameldung by myself, so
For people who don't understand this, oh my God, this is so important, so important, and especially at the beginning.
yeah.
Did you have ever done your Steuererklärung?
I don't think so. I don't.
That's, I wish you all the best. Don't do it, because if you do it once, you always have to do it.
No, when I didn't.
Yeah. Um, now, Looking back across the countries that you lived in, it was France, it was Singapore, it was Canada, and now it's Germany. Which of the chapters do you think it was more transformational for you?
All of them, because they were also at different stages of my life. But I would say Germany. Um, I think I grew up a lot, and as it was the most challenging part for a lot of reasons, I think that me pushing a lot and still being in the country, even though it's challenging, means a lot, and I grew up way more than when it was easier. So yeah, I would say Germany really changed me, and changed as well my vision and where I want to be, where I want to go. And yeah, I mean, I think I am here for a while.
Do you think that the difference, the feeling is different because you are a grown up, let's say like this, you're not a kid anymore? Do you think that makes that experience different?
Yes, definitely. But I'm also like not the same person when I arrived and now. So in 5 years, so many things happened. Definitely. This is hard to say, but when I was younger, um, I think I was in high school. Um, I was a bit dreaming of living in Germany. Um, yeah. In high school, German was my second language. I
It didn't help, right?
No, not at all, not at all. You're always like just learning those sentences that are absolutely impossible to place in a conversation. So basically, it didn't help at all. Um, but yeah, and I was a bit dreaming about living there. I remember that I did some research about studying in Berlin back then and so on. So for me, being here after all those other experiences in between and so on, I also feel that a dream came true as well, because everything I wished for actually happened.
That's so nice. That's so nice. I think that realization that you just said, it's something that you should print out and and have it for you, because I think that's one of the most important things that you have to say out loud, because we are caught every day in the small things that we have happening every day, but we forget big picture. We forget this. If you ask 10 year old yourself what do you want it to be, most probably he or she would have said this what you are doing today. But because you have all these small things which are destroying you today, you think no, 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 this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And complaining culture is also in Germany, so let's be honest. Zu meckern ist einfach.
Yeah, true.
um, if it would be to to recommend one of the three countries, and I would go a bit in a I would go in the age cluster. If you recommend one of the three countries to a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and 40-year-old, which would be the countries? You have to make a one-to-one match.
I think this is really hard. Um, 20 years old, I'm gonna say Canada. This is where I think enjoyed most of the parties and so on. I think a lot of things are happening. The country is big, so as well you can backpack easily and so on. So I guess that's a nice match. 30 years old, I'm gonna say Singapore. I don't know if it's still the case now, but from my experience, all the companies that are there, they are really advancing technologies and so on. So I think to have like a nice career and learn a lot, but still have the money comfort to then travel around Asia and so on. I think it's a nice country. And for this, I would say Germany, because that's a bit more quiet. It's a bit more nature that is like around the corner. And you still have the whole Europe to explore quite easily, because that's still a central country in Europe. The healthcare system is also a bit better. So uh,
I have to say 100% with you. So if you're old, come to Germany. It's okay.
yeah. So yeah, I will match it like that. It's not really the way it happened for me, but funny.
I like the match. I would have thought you put Singapore and Canada the other way around. But other than that, I did suppose over 40 should be always Germany. Like,
But this is really a cliche as well, I have to say, because I mean, cliche, yes and no, because we know that your population in Germany is also older. Um, but I find it so underrated for families, holidays, and so on. I find it so cool to have a family in Germany, or even just to backpack around the country. I have a childhood friend now that is doing a Europe tour by bike, and she did the entire Germany, and she said that so far that's the one of the most beautiful country she biked in. And yeah, I find it so underrated.
I think there are the first reason which pops into my mind is the weather.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
So that's a I, second of all, I think the bike is the most one of the most bike friendly countries that I've get to know, and I think you can confirm
Yeah,
that, right? So
I
uh,
hate biking though, so yeah, yeah, I'm really,
but it's one of the most bike friendly
yeah.
countries on this planet. I'm most probably sure that there is no other countries on this planet that has so many bike ways that you can do completely separate from the street. And I think, of course, I think the cliche is coming from the fact that also when you let's be honest, when you look around, also when you have a small holiday, everyone is leaving Germany. So I was talking today with a work colleague of mine. Isn't it funny that every Feiertag that you have in Germany or every long weekend that you have in Germany, all the exits from Germany are full. It if if this is Poland, Italy, France, doesn't matter. Everybody's running away. I'm always kind of thinking, why is that always happening? Like really, always, always. Yeah, that's. But one thing that I skipped in Germany, and I think I would really I'm genuinely curious about it. Your Instagram account went high during your stay in Germany. Did Have you done something for that, or that it just happened naturally due to the things that you have done in Germany?
It happened, yeah, naturally, but I also invested a bit more time into it,
Hmm.
definitely. So creating content and so on. So I made time for it. I'm also working in marketing and in social media, so it's also kind of part of my job doing that. So I also wanted to link it to my personal life, and I think it also helped me going through the challenges in Germany to also really document as well a bit my life and find another occupation. And yeah, it's still a fact, and I really enjoyed having this Instagram account during December month. I also documented a bit like what is happening in Germany during Weihnachten, so Christmas, because this is also my favorite season, and I think Germany is really the best for it with all the Christmas markets and so on. And this definitely drove a lot of people on my profile, but surprisingly, a lot of German people. So now,
Interesting.
yeah, more than half of my community actually is Germany based.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting because you thought they would know their own habits, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Funny.
Do you have in France as well this habit of these candles that these four candles that you only light up in the Sunday? You don't have it,
No,
right?
no,
It was so interesting for me if we talk about Christmas now.
absolutely. I also didn't know before moving here. And yeah, now, so last year I did my first crown to put my
Hmm.
candles, but this year, then like end of this year, I also plan to do like a bigger one. Now it was like just the first one to try it out.
The test,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
test. Talking about Christmas markets, because you're not far away from the place where I am. I don't know if you have visited the Christmas market in Bad Wimpfen.
No.
Is the oldest one in Germany,
Okay.
and it's open only during the weekends. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You have to check always the calendar, but uh, it's one of the best ones that I visited. I'm most probably subjective because it's like really close to me, but to find the parking place there, it's a challenge, and that's why we always try to park far away, and we go with the train or something, or just go with the train. But the feeling in there is of a really authentic Christmas market, because if you go in one of the big cities, I visited the Stuttgart one. It's nice, but you still have that big feeling city, that big city feeling. Everyone selling something like, but Bad Wimpfen is it's unique, um, and I can only recommend it if you like Christmas.
I love it.
And you can have the best Käsespätzle on this world. Being a
Yeah.
vegetarian,
Okay.
I have a funny story from my German teacher. You know Maultaschen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know why they invented Maultaschen? You know, to hide the meat inside.
Quite a bit inside. Yeah. So God cannot see it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is crazy. I laugh so much at this.
I also love it. I love this
Yeah,
story. I find it quite smart though.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, Before we finish, today I have my rapid fire questions, and I call them the Germany and Canada edition.
Ooh.
Um, I asked you already about the butter pretzel, but I still want to know, is that your favorite German bakery treat?
Yeah. Pretzel is for sure. Yeah.
I cannot say anything. I'm fully with you, so that's it. What's one Canadian thing you secretly miss?
Poutine. 100%. So
I learned so much from you.
that's food as well, and that's local food in Quebec. And this is French fries with a brown sauce and squishy cheese, but you cannot find outside this country. Actually, I never found this cheese.
Squishy cheese.
Yeah, it's when you eat it, yeah, it's doing this. So
Have you had Belgium fries
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had,
with gravy?
yeah, but still,
Isn't it the same? Okay.
no. So yeah, this I miss the
How is it called? Boten?
poutine, like
Poutine.
l-
Like
yeah,
the
like
like the okay. Okay. Nice coincidence.
yeah.
What's your most used French item in your home?
Oh, this is a great question. French item. I don't have a lot. I am checking in the kitchen because this is where everything leads. So
Do you have a cheese cutter?
no, I don't.
Oh, come on.
I have something to open the wine and as well to close it in case you don't finish the bottle. So this we're using quite often, actually.
It can qualify for that. Let me put it this way. um, Penin, how would you describe Canada with one word?
Mm, welcoming.
How do you describe Germany in one word?
I would say nature. I know that it's weird because Canada is really big and really green, but for me, I spend a lot of time in the Alps. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It also opened for me hiking, which I didn't experience so much before. I was hiking a bit, but there it also leads me to enjoy hiking a lot, and in the end pushed me to hike Kilimanjaro. And my passion
Oh,
started
nice.
in Germany, so I would say nature.
Absolutely nice. So we have to say that Germany is a country of professional hikers. Like professional everything, like everything that everyone is starting in Germany, they are taking it at professional level in the first 2 days. Like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have Wandertage. Like this is yeah.
crazy. Do you know the habit for Father's Day when
Yeah,
they are?
with the tray, like and yeah, of course. Oh my God. Yeah, they know how to do it. It's like crazy with all the with all the beers and so on.
Yeah, and it makes I don't understand it, but I
Yeah,
mean I'm not judging. I'm
absolutely. I never
absolutely
experienced it though, so I saw a lot
yeah.
of people. I never like took part of it. But I also don't know if I could like continue hiking if at the same time I'm drinking. But
I mean, I had a work colleague who said, "Yeah, tomorrow we have. I'm working on Friday because usually it's always on Thursday, and most of the people are taking off on Friday." And said, "No, no, I'm working on Friday, but we start at 8 a.m. tomorrow, so we should be early home." I said, "You start 8 a.m. with beer? Yeah, okay. It must be 5 p.m. somewhere."
yeah, absolutely. It's really yeah.
What's a local habit from Canada that you enjoyed being there? A local event, a local holiday, something which is only happening in Canada.
Hmm. Something that was only happening in Canada. I think I'm gonna say huh, all the festivals during summer. I know that we also have it in Europe and everywhere in the world, but they have basically one big month of summer, which is July, where it's like 40 degrees and so on. And yeah, in August, it's already going down again. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's like the big extreme. But the funny thing is, in Canada, I had way more fan than heaters because yeah. Oh, I know this is crazy.
This is just insane. Sorry.
Yeah. But this is when you really understand that when it's cold, you can also really cover and you need one
Mhm.
heater and that's it. But when it's 40 degrees inside for like 7 days in a row, you need some fan. So
I have to say, I enjoy summer. So I don't know. I miss summer since I'm in Germany. I miss the hell out of it. Oh my god, I miss summer. I would love to have 40 degrees for 2 weeks in a row.
soon you're traveling. So but yeah, so all the summer festivals and so on, the city has such another face and is really switching. Everything is outside, and it's also where I attended my first festival, music festival. So for me, that's like a good souvenir, and I really enjoyed this period
What's the language that you talk to yourself in?
in English. Yeah.
I,
I'm working in English. At home, we're speaking in English. So I have to say, we're watching everything in English.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's more like the first language I'm speaking
Okay.
daily. Yeah, it's definitely not German, but it's also not French.
Even though I have to say there are some words which you cannot find a match in a different language for.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have some keywords in the three languages, and sometimes when I'm speaking with someone, I am also placing here a German word because, and the German words I have, which is super cliche, but I know as well the translations, but it's coming first in German. It's Kartoffel. Every time, yeah, I know.
It's for me the same. I don't know. I don't know why. Makes no sense. Sorry, it makes no sense. But it's for me the same.
But thank you because at least I am not the crazy people.
You know what? For me, the one of the funny. So the of course, a lot of words which are interesting in German. A lot. When we have to, and I think for anyone who's not speaking the language, the most important thing which I find it really interesting is that if you know the small family of words, you can build whatever word you want. So like it's
Yes.
free of choice. But for me, are the most important are the words which are borrowed from French. Like for example, aubergine. Like the way in which they are saying aubergine, you know it's French, but it's not French. But it sounds so weird. And I have to ask you, how do they sound for you?
This is funny. Sometimes, sometimes I don't understand, and when I'm seeing the word, I'm like, "This is a French word." Like, come on, guys. So, yeah, this is so funny.
Yeah. Oh, nice. It's nice when you realize you have the same experience, and it's not about you.
Absolutely.
Um, Perin, I want to thank you so much for these two discussions. I enjoyed the hell out of them. I still have some questions, but I have to say it before we finish because I I had so much fun. I really had so much fun. I want to thank you for your time and for being so open. That really helps a lot. And I think it's important for everyone who thinks about doing this expat thing. They have to understand it's not easy, but it's extremely funny.
Yeah.
When you look in the back and see everything that happened, you know, oh my god, that was crazy. How could I go to Canada with 3 days of hostel that I booked? But you went, it worked. Someone should do it for sure not, but they could. If that's the only option, they could.
Yeah, I mean, and thank you for the opportunity for me as well, going back on all of those experiences and so on. That was also the first time I was entirely reflecting on this. And yeah, I'm like, okay, I think now the motto is also trust the process because yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
everything went well.
Perin, how was your relationship with France changed during your period living outside of France?
This is like really challenging. It's still yeah, the same. Every time I'm going back, it's like my country that I know, but everything is also different. Um Marseille got an upgrade since I left. Definitely the city is safer, is cleaner, and is more fun to live in. They have a lot of concept stores and yeah, that's really fun. But overall, the country, I'm saying that it's less safe than before. Every time I'm going to Paris, I'm also yeah a bit like guarding all my personal belongings and so on. And my 3 experience abroad, I was in pretty safe countries, so Singapore, Montreal, at least, and Munich and Stuttgart are pretty safe cities where I don't need to really think too much about it. And as well as a woman, in all the cities I lived outside France, I could go out at night and yeah, without fearing anything. And this is not what I can also experience in France, unfortunately. So yeah, the change is really giving me mixed feeling, but I still enjoy pretty much going back to France for a short period of time.
Nice, nice that you're saying this. Um, I usually take some. I usually like to take from my guests from recommendations, and I usually have a song, a movie, and a book. Um, before we move on to your recommendations, I want to ask you because you could be the only one on this planet except my father that knows the French movies that I love, and they are not the ones with Louis Define. Um, and I don't know if you know, there are a series of 3 movies, and the first one is called Où est la septième compagnie?
Okay.
Oh my, that makes me so sad. Uh, there are three movies which are made of it's the Seventh Company, as the name is also saying. They are doing the Second World War, and they are running away. They are prisoners took by the Germans, and they are running away from them during the war. It's one of the best comedies I've seen in my life. I have the advantage that also understand some of the things, and I get the humor as well. But I have to say, if you haven't seen them, you have to watch them.
Okay.
They are so funny. They are so funny. I'm sorry for jumping into this before your recommendation, but I had to tell you about this.
I love it. So the name is I already heard it.
Where is the Okay, sorry, please.
Yeah, the name I already heard it, but I never watched them for sure.
I can only recommend them. So funny. I'm sorry. Now I would be happy to take a book, a movie, and a song or a band from you.
Okay. The book, definitely, I'm gonna say Le Petit Prince. So yeah, that's French book, but translated in every language by now. And I really like the story. I find it easy to read and still really meaningful. And this is also the book that came with me in all my adventures, my three expatriations. So yeah, it means a lot for me, and I have it actually in French, in English, and now in German.
Nice.
Yeah, so
But my son, I'm sorry for jumping in, but my son is 7 year old, and I think the somewhere around 2 months ago, my wife started first time reading it, and oh my god, since then there is no other book. So we are reading The Little Prince every evening, and he loves it. Lucas, if you're watching this in like 20 years, you have to remember this.
I love it. But from the same author, I think it's also worth checking what he wrote because that's really nice. Nice book, and especially I also really loved Vol de Nuit. That's about like during the Second World War as well, and the story
Mhm.
of the author. And actually, just for the little anecdote, but the plane of the author, so he crashed next to Marseille, and now you can dive in the work of the plane.
Oh, nice. Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, we have to check that maybe on the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's quite deep. So you need to have some, I think the second level. But yeah, in case this is also nice.
That's really nice. Thanks for the tip. That's a really nice tip. I think my son will be really happy.
Movie now. Who I'm really watching a lot of movies I really love. Hmm. I have a lot of French movies in mind. I know that I can find from from others as well, but I will be really cliche, but I'm gonna say Intouchable. So yeah, this is the movie that I am watching quite often. I'm crying, I'm laughing, of course. um, it's also a movie that for me reflects a lot on the difference and how open-minded but also resilient you have to be. And it also connects me a bit to my country because that's also a French movie with all the French culture in that I really love. And if I can also just recommend a second one that is a bit more personal, but that's the movie called Marseille. It's quite hard to find abroad, I have to say. So that's why that's not the first one I am also mentioning. But it's a bit like Bienvenue chez les Ch'tis. So the movie that talks about North of France, but we
Mm-hmm.
had a bit the same but about Marseille. And the
Mm-hmm.
movie starts with a guy from Marseille that moved to Quebec, and for some reason it has to go back to Marseille. So I could really relate to the stories, and the movie is really cliche about Marseille, but as well really true. So yeah, I could also send you the link if you want to write
Would be
there.
nice. Would be
But
nice.
yeah, that's also a really nice movie. But yeah, I always have the back of my mind. And the band or song. I will mention a German song. It's called, yeah, I know. It's called Auf uns.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is also like a known one, and this is a song that I really love. It's super meaningful for me. It talks about love. It talks about connections and life together and so on. And this is a bit like the story I'm also living since I moved to Stuttgart. So that's a song that I'm playing quite often at home as well. And yeah, this is also for me a bit new life in Germany. So yeah.
This will be the name of the episode. She stayed for love.
Absolutely.
Uh, I was pretty sure you were going to mention Je ne parle pas français.
Uh,
Do you know the song?
no,
It's also a German song. It's a really nice one.
I don't know it.
You have to listen to it because you also understand the point of it. It's really nice. Perrine, the last question. Where is home?
Ah. Yeah, this is, I think, the biggest struggle when you're an expat to answer. In my heart, I would say that's Marseille forever. Um, it's really it's really big and true to say that, but all the ways for me are always leading to Marseille somehow. And I know that this is a safe place. I can always land there in case anything is happening for me. Um, but the daily life is where my shoes are. So in Stuttgart.
So nice. That sounds so nice. I never heard the expression where my shoes are, but that sounds really really interesting. Are you a fan of football as well? Do you also like OM, right?
Yeah,
Of
I
course.
am a
Of course,
huge
makes sense.
fan of football, actually. I am the one like turning on the TV to watch the football at home.
I have to say I grew up when OM was playing really good and they were playing quite often in the Champions League final, and I did follow OM for a long time.
Ooh, nice. Cool.
Yeah. Perrine, thank you very much. I really, I would say, I have to say, I'll thank you a lot of times and for a lot of things, but I just say thanks for taking the time and for sharing. Was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for the opportunity of sharing my stories, for all the fun. It also leaves me with the feeling that I am not the only one living all this. So yeah, that's quite good and a good reminder as well that we are never alone. So thank you very much.
That's the nicest experience of this podcast. I have to say, for me at least, that I realized, no, you're not the only one. No, you're not special. It's just fun for everyone. Everyone is going through the same things. I will, for anyone that wants to find you, you can say your Instagram if you want to.
Yep.
I will link it in the show notes description below, and whomever wants to follow you, they can find you on Instagram and they can see what you are up to in the future as well. And I honestly hope we get to do this again sometime in the future, Perrine, because it was a lot of fun.
I would love to. Thank you very much.
Have a nice one. Talk to you soon. Bye.